welcome to my channel, The Gray Wren Nest. As promised, I have a session here with answers to your questions. Some of you have posted questions on my YouTube page, some of you over on my Facebook page, and then many of you just in person and passing and wondering how I got started in this business. So I thought I would share. First of all, I think my overarching main question is, why YouTube? How did you get inspired with YouTube? And that's been a most recent question. And in honesty, I've had a YouTube channel for probably 14 years, maybe 15. And what inspired me then was grandchildren. I wanted to start posting and, do the ultrasounds and all of that. But in reality, in that time in my life, I think I posted one ultrasound. And I just realized I wasn't ready for YouTube at that time. My life was too busy juggling my job and, my just life in general. So many years passed, and then my daughter, back in, I want to say it was like 2016, 17, somewhere around there, she was looking for something to do, stay-at-home mom, was passionate about crafting like I am, and I said, hey, why don't you start posting some of your stuff? And she really wasn't into posting at that time, but I had a channel. So I said, let's start posting some of our stuff on the YouTube channel that I have. So her husband would come over, and she would come over, and when we had time, we would videotape our personalized embroidered footballs, basketballs, baseballs, softballs, volleyballs, soccer balls. We take them apart and we personalize them on the embroidery machine, and then we put them back together. And that has been a profitable little side business for my daughter. I was just the free help at the time and posting some videos, but it was fun. And then as that business grew, the continuation of posting on YouTube was spotty after that, because we were just too busy. And we still are. However, what's changed in my life, or going to change, is the fact that I'm on my retirement countdown. Some of you out there in my world, in my real world here, know that, and some of you, it will be a surprise. It is 1 year out. It's actually almost 365 days from today, give or take a couple days. And I want to figure out my retirement side of things so that it gives me something to do, stay busy, keep my mind going, my crafty mind. I always have to create. That's my passion. That's what fuels me. And then I want to share with all of you. So that's how I got started on my YouTube channel. Thinking about my retirement, I got serious about thinking what to do about a year ago. And I know, it seems like a far out plan, 2 years, and now I'm down to a year, but it goes so fast. And I decided that I didn't want to be the free help anymore. I wanted to kind of do the side business of what I'm passionate about. They took over the sports ball area, and you can see that on our webpage. It's linked below. But I love embroidering and sewing and quilting and leatherworking. And I can't leave out another passion, gardening. So I wanted to record that. I wanted to capture that and my journey in my retirement years. So I opened up the Gray Wren Nest. My daughter has the Gray Wren, and I'm the Gray Wren Nest. And we share advertising. Why not? Share in the cost. But so you'll see her stuff on there as well as mine, and it's combined. And I think we make a good partnership that way. I do my thing on the weekends with my friends come over and sew with me, especially one main friend that I've had since early high school, long time ago, because I'm 61 now. And she has been my best friend since then, and she'll come over and sew with me every weekend, and she lives an hour away. That's dedication. We do craft shows. So, I have some supplies built up for craft shows. And down the road, I'll start showing you more of the sewing and leather working and my gardening as summer rolls around. Right now I'm focusing on quilting. I love quilting. It's a passion. I did a video on that just a little bit ago that's on my page. So that leads me to my first question on this video. Comes from KAGR6329. And the question is, how do you find the time to do all the stuff that you do? Do you get more hours in the day than the rest of us? We're empty nesters and I have time. So when I get off work, I come home and I find solace right here in my craft studio. So not only do I have time after work, I have time on the weekends when my friend comes over and sews with me. We put a book on tape and we have teamwork, and sometimes it's like an assembly line to get the products done for customers. It's a really neat thing that we have going on, and I love this time of my life. So I'll share a little bit about me. I have been sewing for probably 55 plus years. And my grandmother showed the passion of her sewing, shared it with me. I used to sit at her feet and she would sew and hand me the pins, and I'd put them in the pin cushion. In fact, look at this. This was my grandmother's and I still have it. I took it to way back when I was in school, we had home ec, and I had to do sewing projects there and cooking, and I can't say much for my cooking. People say, what can't you do? That's it right there. Don't come to my house to eat dinner because you'll starve. However, if you want to come over and craft, you're in the right place. So then came the transition in my life where I was married and had my first teaching job. I'm an educator. I had babies at the time, and I thought, I'm gonna be that mom that makes all the baby clothes and makes the stuff for the house, and life got in the way. That didn't happen. And I even packed my sewing machine up and didn't really do much with it. And not that it was a sad time of my life, but my creative side of me was squelched because I was in demand motherhood, and that was fine with me at the time, but you just don't realize that yearning to create until you actually start creating again. I hope that makes sense, but that was me. So as my children grew up, still the sewing machine was packed away. They moved out of the house, married, and then the grandkids started coming, and I got another sewing machine. This time I got a new one, and it was wonderful. I was in heaven, and I had also a new embroidery machine at the time. It was a Brother 770, I think that's what it was. Like a flatbed embroidery machine that had a little, it had a 4x4 hoop, but I was happy because I could do little names and little pictures for the baby onesies, and it worked out fine. But then I outgrew that one real quick, and I saved up money and got a PRS 100, which I still have today. It's been getting old, but it works like a workhorse. I'll show it in some of my videos if I haven't already. I don't think I've actually, I think I've shared the actual embroidery, but not really about my machine. That they still make them. They're still out there, and they're a really good price right now. A lot better than what I paid for it when I first got it, but I love it. But I'm kind of off track there. What I wanted to say was, I think when the grandkids came, that's when I had the transition in my life of being an empty nester and time on my hands that I didn't have before. Yes, I worked all day, but then I could come home and I could relax, and my relaxation was my sewing room. So I think that was where the spark began, and that was probably 20 years ago, 15 years ago, you know, in between that 15 and 20 mark is when I started to really do things again and consistently. So you might ask, Shelly, how do you have gardening in there? Isn't this a sewing channel? Yes, it's a sewing crafting channel. I look at sewing as a broad term. Sewing is, it includes embroidery, it includes leather work, it includes quilting, because you have to sew in all of those. If you want to make things, you don't just embroider, you don't just sew. Well, you can just sew, but sewing involves so many other things. I think sewing is the umbrella, and then the other ones fall under it. But where does gardening fall? I don't know, but I love it. And there is a story behind that one. My mom was an avid gardener. She was a master gardener. And I'm not just throwing that word around loosely. She attended master gardening classes. They had a greenhouse, a nursery at one time. And at that, I was still on the crafting side of things. And once again, you know, if you have someone in your family that really enjoys something else, let them take that over. And I just enjoyed reap the benefits, so to speak. But then in 2013, my mom passed away, and life hit me pretty hard at that time. And, you know, I really missed her. So I really missed her, and I started looking at my gardens a little bit differently. And we moved into a brand new house. It was only like just a couple months. It was a new build. We had one owner before us that had to relocate, so we reaped the benefits of that. And I had a more or less blank landscape. It had like a small package landscaping deal, but it needed some help. Well, I shouldn't say it needed help, because it was nice. Don't get me wrong. But when you go from your mother's home to that wow garden to like a builder grade type landscaping, you think, what could I do here? And that was that spark. That was my inspiration, and I never looked back. And I do have a couple videos on that as well, linked below in the gardening section. And I was also featured on Dig Plant Rot or Repeat with Janie last summer, and also Robbie from Visit Our Garden. He came along, and it was such a fun time to have them come and visit the garden and take pictures and share videos. I shared some pictures and a link to theirs, but at that time I still wasn't honing in on my YouTube channel yet. I was thinking about it, but I wasn't quite there yet. You know, I had a couple flower pictures and flower videos and how-tos on making my own sip pot for my flowers, a self-watering pot. And I thought to myself, I really need to keep that in my life. Just because I'm making a channel, it doesn't have to be one focused thing. It can be about me, and that's who I am. I'm a crafter, sewer as the umbrella, and I'm a gardener. So I had an anonymous post over on my Facebook page, and it was, do you have any tips for beginners, embroidery, sewing, leatherworking? Any beginner tips? And I'll make a video on some of my tips down the road, but just in general right now, I think my biggest tip is watch YouTube videos. I can't tell you how inspired I get by watching others. And then I think, how can I apply that to myself? Or I go out for a specific search because I don't know how to do something, and YouTube is your best friend. Or at least it's my best friend. And I hope to be one day your best friend through YouTube and give you tips and tricks. My granddaughter knew I was doing this, and she said, hey, Mimi, why don't you tell them what your favorite craft is? And I said, okay, let me think here. And two things popped into my mind, probably because they're my most recent things that I've really honed in on. And this is crafting side, not gardening side, but my crafting side, I love working with leather. Leather is an absolute passion of mine, and that's typically where I focus all of my craft shows, is with leather work. And I have, here's an example. This bag is probably 6 years old, but look at that worn leather. Isn't that gorgeous? And of course I had to add my embroidery in there, you know, and get a little of my other skills going there. And it's raw on the inside, but this, I wish it was a little more organized. I didn't plan on showing it, but I have my computer in here. So I've got my computer and cords, and this is what I take to work every day. And recently, quilting has become a passion. And my friend that comes over and sews, she's the one who got me hooked on quilting. And I've cranked out several quilts, made several of them for Christmas. And another big challenge, free motion quilting. Ugh. I made a video on that one, and it's gonna be the death of me. I'm not kidding. I'm a perfectionist. I love perfect stitches, and free motion quilting isn't there for me. I try so hard, but I put myself out there on a video just yesterday to show that, you know what, I'm not perfect at everything, and I'm on a learning journey, and hopefully you follow that learning journey with me on free motion. If I ever get up the nerve to try again, might practice a little bit before I share again, because it was humbling. But we all start somewhere, right? Another general question I usually get is, retirement, what are you going to do with your time? Well, some people don't know me that well, do they? Because I got plenty of things to do in my retirement. Let me share a little bit about my background. I am in education, as I said a little earlier. I was a teacher for 8 years and a elementary building principal for 27 of those years. And 9 of those years I was a dual principal and superintendent of a charter school for all-day kindergarten. We were the first one in the community to have an all-day kindergarten. This is several years ago. Got to remember, I'm old. And then back in 2013, I received my doctorate. And as soon as I did my dissertation, the school, the university offered me a position. So I'm an online professor, and I have been since 2013. So that's going to be a part of my retirement, is continuing my online professorship, doing hopefully this YouTube and sharing all of my crafts with all of you and tips and tricks. And then of course in the summer, sharing my love of gardening with many of you. Okay, a specific question here from the YouTube channel is D Kerr B5U. D said, how do you pick your patterns for your quilts? They're so cute. Pinterest. Pinterest is my best friend. I love it. When I run across something, I pin it, and I think one day I'm going to make those. And when I get the right opportunity or the right birthday coming along, Christmas rolled around, I made them. I jumped right in, and I didn't look at the skill level on the patterns. Some of them I even looked at it and made my own pattern. As you can see in some of my videos, I shared my chicken scratch of how I took notes. But mainly, if I purchased the pattern, I made sure I gave credit where credit was due on the pattern. And in fact, I can show you the latest one that I'm working on here. This is called Knitted Bloom. Isn't that cute? That's going to be part of my next quilt. And I will be sharing that one soon of how I made that. Let me sit back down here. So I think it's not that I'm just trying to fill space with what I make. It's purposeful. So I think that's how I stay in tune with the latest things coming up and the wants and needs of my clients that I'm working with or my family members. Let's see, I have another specific question here. It's from Jennifer3043. Jennifer said, thank you for sharing your stories. I can't wait to see your garden. I'm curious, what do you do to your garden beds prior to winter? The major things I do when I close down my garden for the fall / winter, I turn off my drip system. My son-in-law comes over and we blow out the lines. I'll show you how to do that this year. There are a lot of videos on that as well on YouTube. That's where we learned. I remove my annuals. Let's see. Annuals, I think that's it. Those are the two biggies. Taking out the annuals, cleaning up the bed that way. And then, oh, I know, bringing in my flower pots. I've got a video I want to share with you. I'll try to find it and put it in here. It's a little comical of my son-in-law picking up some of my Boston fern flower pots. You'll get a laugh. And watch him roll his eyes when he does it.
I swear, the things my mom can talk Mike into doing. He is helping my mom finish putting up her Christmas decorations outside. Can you tell he is having a blast?
You got it? You got it? Yep. Careful, there's steps. Look how big that is. Isn't that crazy? That's nuts. That is just nuts.